Greetings. We're going to install Unreal Engine 4.27 to build a VR experience with Android Studio for the Oculus Quest 2. So if you're looking to do that, you've come to the right place. And let's get started. So this is the Epic Games launcher. This is how you actually get to Unreal Engine in the first place. If you haven't installed Epic Games Launcher, go ahead and do that. Once you've got it installed and you've created an account and you've gotten to the screen that looks roughly like this, you're going to see on the left-hand side an Unreal Engine tab. So go ahead and click that tab. And strangely enough, Unreal Engine is in a tab called Library. You'll notice there's two tabs here, one called Library here, one called Library here. You want the top Library tab if you ever see that referred in documentation online. Okay, so you're going to add an engine version. You're going to add 4.27 dot whatever. I'm on .1, but the engine changes moderately quickly. So you might be on 4273 or something like that, and that's totally fine. Just a quick note, if you click this down arrow here, you're going to see set current, remove, and verify. Set current just sets your engine version at the current as the current engine. So if you ever create a new project, it's going to default to 4.27. You can also remove the engine if you want, say if there's a weird issue, or let's say also you've been doing this for a while and you've got a bunch of old versions that you don't use anymore, you can remove it that way. So let's go ahead and click install. This install is going to install on the Mac. This is a Mac. This is the M1 Mac I'm using, but this tutorial will also work for Intel-based Macs. Your path is going to be users, shared, Epic Games, UE427. Some people may need to install on different drives to drive space or whatnot. That's totally fine. The total install takes about 40 gigs, maybe 50, so it's very big. So make sure you have enough space. But let's go ahead and click install. I have enough space, so I'm going to go ahead and install in users shared Epic Games. It's going to say please wait here for a while. You're going to then see some things like configuring. You're then going to see installing. You might see a verified step that takes a very long time and is annoying. We'll see how it goes. Here's our initializing step right now. And the install is running. You can see it's 11.2 gig. I'm going to pause the recording for now because this will take about 15 minutes. And we'll be back really soon. Android Studio. And we do that by just typing Android Studio. And we want to download Android Studio and SDK tools. And there's a little caveat here. If you're on a Mac, do you see it says 2021.3.1 for Mac? There are 2 Mac installers. And I think this actually might be the incorrect one, but we're going to find out. So don't just go click download Android Studio. Go to download options, and you'll see here there are 2 Mac installers. This Mac 64-bit installer is for an Intel processor Mac. So if you have a Mac from 2020 or earlier, there's a very good chance that you have an Intel Mac. If you have a Mac from 2021, you should really check to make sure which one you have. You could have gotten an Intel machine. You could have gotten an M1 machine. You can do that, I think, by clicking this Apple here, going to About This Mac. And yes, you will see chip here for me says Apple M1. If you don't have Apple M1 right here, you're on an Intel machine. Okay, so I need the M1 chip. And you'll notice here, it doesn't say M1. What it says is 64-bit ARM. And what we want is a 64-bit ARM. And so let's go ahead and click download. We're going to accept the license agreement. Yes, sign your life away. This is a 1 gig download, so I'm going to pause my recording while this downloads. Okay, the download is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it to install it. Expanding the zip file. This installer can take a little while, so I might, again, pause the recording for a bit while we're installing. So we've got this downloaded here, and what we want to do is we want to drag Android Studio into our applications folder. Click applications. Go to Android Studio, go ahead and launch it. We want to, yes, we know we downloaded it from internet. Go ahead and hit open. And you may get some screens here that ask you like what if you want dark mode or light mode, some other things. But what you're going to get here is a welcome to Android Studio screen eventually. I've installed this before, so it skipped through a couple things, but they're all very minimal. So there's a couple things to know. You can get to some of these options in Android Studio up here in Android Studio, or you can get to some of these options through more actions. The thing we want to get to is this SDK Manager here. And again, you can get to SDK Manager for more actions, or you can get it through Preferences up here. We'll just do it through Preferences. Where it's going to take you is exactly into this Android SDK option. Notice that's under Appearance and Behavior, which is a little bit of a strange category for it, I think, but here we are. Appearance and Behavior, System Settings, Android SDK. So the first thing you want to do is go into this SDK Platforms tab. And notice here, Android 10 is selected. Often if you first install this, Android 10 is not going to be selected. It would be something like 12 or 11. Uncheck everything else in this list except for 10. And if 10 is not selected, go ahead and select it. So you definitely want 10. The Quest 2 is that Android 10 device. You don't want anything else. So just make sure this one option is selected. Okay. Now we're going to go to SDK Tools. And this is a little bit of a strange screen. But we'll get through it. It's not a big deal. There's 2 options here that have these little dashes in there. And what those dashes in the user interface are telling us is down under this line here, there's a lot more stuff. And some of these options down in here have been checked and others have not. And so you might be asking yourself, well, how do I go down there and look at them? And the answer to that is you click this option down here that says Show Package Details. So just click Show Package Details. And what you see is we've now kind of unfurled these options. So we are now in the Android SDK Build Tools 32-RC1. It's the first option that was in our list. And we want to, again, make sure everything in here is unchecked except for 29.0.2. So again, everything, don't worry about this indicate, we'll get to there in just a second, but anything from 19 up until 32, all of it should be unchecked except for 29.0.2, not .3, .2. And then you should be good. Now what we want to do is scroll down a bit. And now we want to configure, we want to install the correct SDK version. And what we want from the SDK is this one right here, 23.0.7599.858. Make sure everything else in this list is unchecked. So don't check 23.1, don't select 22.1, select 23.0. This very long number here. And you should be good to go. Before I do that though, I want to have you take note of something. Do you see this path up here? Android SDK location, users, Rob. Rob is my name, so that's my username. Library, Android SDK. This path we are going to use in Unreal Engine 4 when we open it back up. So keep this in mind. Users directory, your name, library, Android SDK. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that right now, just so we have it. Okay, now go ahead and click OK. And we can close out Android Studio. You will get asked probably to like install some stuff, and that's fine. Just let it install. I already had my stuff checked, so we're good. Okay, so now I'm going to close this out. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. And then we want to go back into Unreal Editor. And now what we want to do is go back into Edit, back into Project Settings, and go back into Android SDK. So again, location of Android SDK is that path I just talked about. And what's nice is there is little 3 dots here. So let's go ahead and click on that. And a reminder where we want to go is users. And this can be a little bit challenging to get to in the Finder if you're not sort of sure how to do it. If you don't know how to get to it, notice you can get to here. You can kind of walk the path back and go to users, right? And then my name is Rob, so I'm going to go to Rob. And then I'm going to go to, oh, now I've forgotten what it is. This is why I wrote it down. Yeah, users, Rob, library, and that's kind of a weird one. Library. Aha. Okay, so we're running into an interesting issue here. What's happening is the library directory is hidden on the Mac under your username, but there's a way to show it. And I don't know if we can show it from here. We can't. Okay, so let's get around this. What we want to do is we copied and pasted it, right? And so let's go ahead and paste it in there. And now we've got it, users, Rob, library, Android, SDK. Let's see what happens if we click these 3 dots. No, that's not it. I thought it might take us there. Okay, so let's go ahead and click. Let's copy this. We're going to paste it in here. And now I'm going to show you what the path is for the NDK. The path for the NDK is this right here. Users, your name, library, Android, SDK, NDK, and then that crazy long 23 number, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste this in here. And what I'll do is I'll put these paths without my username in there in a comment in the video description, or put it in the video description so you can get to it easily. And now here's an interesting trick. Many tutorials will tell you to go get Java from somewhere and install it, and I find that to be an incredible hassle. It's also a different set of instructions for getting it for an M1 processor versus getting it for an Intel processor. But Android Studio comes with a Java JDK that you can use. And I say use that one because that's the one that Android's going to use. That's the one that Android already knows it can use. And so I've always found that to be better. So that path for that JDK is in a weird place. It's inside the Android Studio app. And so what's kind of a strange thing that you may not know is app files in your applications directory on the Mac. App files are really just kind of like pseudo folders. There's stuff in there. And so you can actually path into an app file. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do applications, Android Studio app, and then inside the app itself, we're going to go to contents. Then we're going to go to JRE, contents again, and then home. And again, I'll put this in the video description so you can easily copy and paste it in. But let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to put that in here. Let's see, I'm just curious if I click on this, where that takes us. No, that's a strange place. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to compile with this and see if it works right. I think it should. We'll see how it goes. But if not, we may have some slightly strange pathing issues here, but I think we're going to be in good shape. Okay, again, remember there's no save option here, so just close it out and hit save current. All right, and so what we want to do is we actually now want to try building this demo app to the Oculus Quest 2. And to do that, you need to make sure the Oculus Quest 2 is plugged in. Mine is. When you plug in your Oculus Quest 2, you will very likely get some messages in your Oculus Quest 2 that say like, hey, are you sure you want your computer to connect to this Quest 2? Like, do you trust your computer? Do you want your USB cable to work correctly? All this kind of stuff. The answer is always yes, and then you should be good. And then what you can do is we want to build to the Quest 2, but don't just click this button. Click this little down arrow. And let's see what we get. Now notice there's some, oh, actually, sorry, we don't want to build. What we want to do is we want to launch. Sorry, I'm on a 13-inch display and the launch button is hidden. It's usually at the very end of the screen there. Okay, what we want to do is we want to launch. We don't want to build. Sorry about that. We want to launch. And what we want to do is we want to click this little down arrow here. And now on my machine, you're going to see the Oculus Quest 2 show up. On your first install, this will not show up because you haven't successfully built to the device yet. But that's okay. We can get around it. What you want to do is you want to go down here to Project Launcher, and it's kind of a nice tool. So it's useful even if you can see it up here. Let's go ahead and click Project Launcher. And now what you should see is you should see the Quest 2 in this list. You'll see some other stuff too. You can ignore that. And what you want to do is you can't actually click this whole bar here, but what you can click is this launch button over here. So go ahead and click launch, and it's going to actually try to build to the Quest, and we'll see what happens. This is a pretty nice screen. You're seeing here you've got these different checkboxes. You've got your output log here. So if something is wrong with our configuration, we'll get a red line, and it'll make a sound and say, whoa, what have you done? You made a giant mistake. You will also see occasionally yellow lines like this line right here. And that yellow line is just a warning. It's usually almost never means anything too bad. It's just sort of telling you like, hey, heads up, this is kind of a strange thing. I'm letting you know. Red lines, on the other hand, are typically a sign that your build is going to fail and that you need to change your configuration. You will see there's a little window down underneath this window. This is your standard output log. This is exactly the same stuff that's in here. You can reduce it out. This is kind of a nicer screen because you can see what's happening. You can see where the errors happened, where the warnings happened. And this is also good if you're like me and impatient. You go to launch your project, but then you want to go, send an email or something while you're waiting. It's kind of nice to be able to come back here and see where it failed if it failed. Things are looking pretty good right now. We'll see how it goes. This also log is really useful to understand. It's useful to understand just kind of generally what's happening. You can see here the deploy command completed and now the run command has started. And often, if you do run into an error, you can right click on any of these lines once the log is done writing and copy and paste those into Google. And every error I've ever gotten from this log file has had some useful kind of how-to attached to it online, so it's pretty handy. Okay, and we just made it through launching and UAT post-launch cleanup, and so we should have the app running now on the Oculus Quest 2, and we do. That's awesome. Okay, you just built an app in like 30 minutes or something, 40 minutes. You went from installing Unreal 4.27 and now have deployed a little mini app onto your headset. Let's go ahead and click done here, and let's close this out. Now there's an extra thing to think about here. What we just did is we just launched to the headset, right? Here's something that you want to know. Let's go ahead and open up the Finder, and I'm going to go to Documents. I gotta find it somewhere here in my list. Unreal Projects, right? And what we did is we created a project called Coolest VR Project. Let's go ahead and open that up. It's worth knowing what's in here. So, binaries, this is a bunch of Android hoo-ha. But you'll notice there is a thing in here called Coolest VR Project -arm64.apk. Good to know. You're going to see build Android, and you're going to see the build files in here. Config, content, derived data cache, intermediate, saved, and script. So the first thing you're going to want to do is know that this stuff exists. You're going to end up making a folder inside this project. And let's go ahead and make it now. You can right click here, do a new folder. And what we're going to do is let's make a folder called packaged builds. And we're going to call it that because typically when you build using the launch tool, you get a build that builds into this directory. What you want to do if you want to share APK files with your friends or other testers or something like that is you're going to make your own build, and you want to make your own package, and you're going to then get an APK file that you want to send to someone on Discord or through email or something like that. And so you want a folder, a place to do that. And so I always call mine package builds just to differentiate it from this build directory up here. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is let's go ahead and download SideQuest. Go ahead and click on it. SideQuest is kind of a strange homepage because it's kind of a storefront if you think about it, right? So this is where people can get apps that are not in one of the Facebook app stores. You can just get it here and install it through the side door on your Oculus Quest. So go ahead and click Get SideQuest up here. And now one thing that's cool is this download for Mac OS X is the same for both platforms, whether it's M1 or Intel. So just go ahead and click that. This is a pretty quick download, and it is done. So we're going to open it up. And you're going to drag SideQuest app, run it into applications, open up applications. I type the letter SI to get down to SideQuest, and let's launch SideQuest. It's going to ask hey, are you sure you want to open this? Yes, we are. Now you can load nefarious things using SideQuest, so don't just take someone's random APK file and load it unless you are cautious about it. But it's a great tool. SideQuest is a great tool to use for development with friends or collaborators, etc. So let's go ahead and open it up. I think we did. Oh, it's open. Okay. So if the Oculus Quest is connected correctly, you'll see a green dot up here. That means SideQuest knows how to connect to the headset and has. You're going to see it's telling us, hey, you have a headset connected. This is what it's called. This is the Wi-Fi connection of the headset itself, and this is also the IP address of the headset itself, and we're at 100% battery. So we're all good there. So this is cool. We're going to leave this as is for now, and let's go back to Unreal. And here's what we want to do. If we want to package a build, what you're going to do is you're going to go to File and Package Project. We're going to package for Android, and we're going to select Android ASTC. So go ahead and click that. And now we want to use that package builds directory that we just made. So go ahead and just double click in there. We're telling it hey, when you package the build, put it into here. And go ahead and click open. And now the package is going to run. The reason I also want to show you this is it's always a good idea to click this show output log, and that way you can see what's happening. So if you get an error, you can try to track down what happened. So this will run, running. So it won't take too long, I don't think. We'll see. Again, those yellow lines are warnings, not errors, so we should be good. And package completed. So we're good. And also you can see down here it says build successful, and that is always a good sign. So let's go ahead and close that out, and let's go back into the Finder. Oops, that's the applications directory. Let's open up a new Finder window, and let's go to Documents, and then Unreal Projects, Coolest VR Project, and if you go into Package Builds, now you're going to see 3 files. And these are all useful. So the first one is the APK file itself. This is, it's not tiny, but it's not horrible. It's 142 megs. So you can copy this file, give it to someone who has SideQuest, and they'll just load it and it'll run, which is pretty cool. But there's also these 2 command files here, and these are batch files, really. They'll run sort of commands on your computer. And you'll notice they both have our project name in there, Coolest VR Project. And they also say install and uninstall. So this is pretty cool because you don't really even need SideQuest to install using this command file, and I'll show you how it works. If you click install, it's going to go through. It's telling you here that, hey, I already see a project with this name on it. I'm going to uninstall that original project, and then I'm going to copy the new one in. And what happened? Installation successful, saving session completed. And now you've got Coolest VR Project, our app, on this Oculus Quest. So that's a pretty handy way to do that. You can also do uninstall here, and what's going to happen is it's going to then yank the application off the headset, and the uninstall is completed. So now the application is gone off the headset. But so let's go ahead and click install again just to load it back on. And we're good. So we got it back on the headset. Oh, I tried to quit too soon. Okay, yep, good. It worked anyway. Installation successful. Now we're done. Okay, so now let's go to SideQuest. And with SideQuest, you can also install the APK. And the way to do that is to click this little down arrow up here, the little down arrow icon, install APK file from folder on computer. So just click that. And again, you're going to path to Documents, go to Unreal Projects, Coolest VR Project, Package Builds, Android ASTC, and don't pick these command files, pick the APK file, and then hit Open. And immediately it's going to start copying. You can see down here it says starting app install, running, and should be good. Yeah, all tasks completed. Just another thing worth knowing, you can go over here to this little checkbox icon, and it'll show you what tasks have previously run, whether they were successful or not, and that's pretty cool. SideQuest also has some pretty interesting things. You can load apps to the headset without a USB cable using wireless mode. I've actually never tried this, but it could be good. Also, there is a cool wrench icon here, and there's some pretty interesting things in here. You can enable experimental mode. You can bump the refresh rate on your headset, do some other things that the sort of standard Oculus interface doesn't let you do. So pretty interesting tool. It's been pretty great. All right, we're going to go ahead and exit. And that is how you go from installing Unreal 427 to getting your cool creative project onto a headset various ways, whether through SideQuest, with a package build, or just launching it into the headset itself. I hope this helps. It's kind of a long video, but I think there's a lot of useful stuff in here. And so if you're confused or anything seems weird, give me a shout in the comments, and we'll see if we can get you fixed up. Enjoy.